All right, next up, we put together a program today as we approach the end of the year and we approach a new year. This is the time to reevaluate everything that you've worked on for the last 9-10 months and look at where are the improvements that you can make for the next year. How do you make sure that 2022 is going to be your best year ever? Interesting about the year that we just had is it was a record year in real estate. Many of you just went about focusing on working with buyers and sellers and really not focusing on your business. It was like one buyer, one seller after another. And the danger in that is that you really didn't focus on how do you get your business organized so that when the market shifts, which it always does, it will shift, how do you make sure that that steady stream of income is still continuing to come in? How do you unlock your best year ever? So we put together some steps, so 10 steps that we feel you could take now. So start working between now and the end of the year to gear yourself up so 2022 is a remarkable year for you. So number one, in order to have your best year ever, it's really important to recognize that time is money. So how you use your time determines the success you have and the income that you will enjoy for 2022. So what this means is how you spend your time is more important than how you spend your money. So it's important as we go into the new year that you review your calendar and make certain that you are blocking out time for tasks that deliver results. One of the ways to do this is to look at what you did for the past 10 months and look at the calendar and look at where you spent your time and ask yourself, during those blocks of time, were you working on tasks that delivered results for your business? The best use of your time is always going to be in front of home sellers. Nothing else is going to compare. If you want longevity in this business, make sure your calendar and your efforts are getting you in front of home sellers. Buyers are, of course, a great source of income too. Of course, you need to work buyers, but your long-term goal is to be spending less time with buyers and more time with sellers. And I'll get back to this in a couple minutes in one of the other slides. But ask yourself, as you're building your business for 22, do you have a message that will get sellers to raise their hands, to tell you who they are and get in contact with you? Because the most important use of your time as you look at your calendar is to look daily and say, what am I doing to get in front of more sellers for my business? Number two, stand out. Ask yourself, you offer that no one else does. What is your unique value proposition? Don't just tell people that you're honest and you do a good job. Most agents believe that they're honest and do a good job, and that's like the lowest possible bar. Like every real estate agent says they're honest and they do a good job. It's important to make sure that your standout message is then embedded into everything you do. This goes back to what we've experienced over the last 10 months. It's been such a busy market that we haven't really had to hone our messaging. We haven't had to look at that and say, well, what makes me a better real estate agent? It's going to be really important as the market begins to shift that you can clearly articulate what makes you different and better than other real estate agents in your marketplace. Once you've figured out what your standout message is, what is the one little thing that makes you different? So for example, I was talking to an agent yesterday and she wasn't sure what her unique value proposition is. And then as I started talking to her further, it turns out that she's been in real estate for several years, but prior to that, she was also in mortgages. And I said, then that's your unique value proposition, is that you have the background in both the financing end as well as the purchasing end. So make sure that that's all spelled out as part of your value propositions. That's one of the things that makes you stand out. Not every real estate agent has a background in both mortgages and real estate. That's what makes you unique. Maybe what makes you unique is that you live in and work in a very particular neighborhood. So while other real estate agents from all around are trying to market to your neighborhood, what makes you different is that you live in that neighborhood. If that's what makes you stand out, make sure that that's embedded into your messaging, your listing presentations, your buyer presentations, your social media pieces, your email campaigns. So it's important as you are getting ready for the new year that if you want to unlock all of your potential for 2022, you articulate what the message is, what makes you stand out, and you embed it into everything. So that's number 2. Next, pick a niche to grow rich. So we just talked about what makes you different, what makes you unique or special, what makes you stand out from other real estate agents. Now we're going to take it a step further, and I'm going to suggest that you also, in addition to that, think about a niche that you're going to cater to. Now, that doesn't mean that you're only going to do business within the niche, but as you begin marketing your business, what is the niche that you're going to build upon? In other words, your second value proposition. So you have this value proposition, which is maybe that you live in a neighborhood or that you have a background in mortgages, but then also you're going to start working on a niche, something that makes you the expert in something. So think about what your niche is, and then think about how you're going to market to that niche. How are you going to let people know that you are the expert in the niche, so you attract people who are looking for that type of expertise to come your way? Some of the niches, and there's hundreds, beach properties, luxury homes, and maybe you specialize in investors, sustainable properties, senior specialists. Maybe you specialize in people going through divorces or estate sales. There's so many different possible niches, but have a niche. If you cater to everybody, then it's like catering to nobody. You want to make sure that you have a specialized niche that you are marketing to. And of course, you're going to continue to build your database of everybody who knows, likes, and trusts you. But you're also going to highlight yourself as a specialist in a particular area. Next, work from a plan. So if you want to have your best year in 2022, you have to have a plan as to how you're going to get there. Don't just wing it. This is important because especially if you've joined real estate in the last couple of years, it's kind of easy to make money just by winging it in the business. There's so much business out there, but longevity in this business will dictate that you can't just wing it. You need to have a plan if you're going to be in this business for the long haul. So what does it look like to make a plan for your business? Number one, decide how much you're going to make in 2022. So figure out how much will you make in 2022 instead of just figuring it out next December, saying, okay, I made that amount. Let's decide now what you're going to make in 2022. Then how many clients will you need to close in order to do that number? So let's just say that you need to have 12 clients in order to make the number that you're looking at. Well, then once you know that, how many people do you need to meet in order to close those 12 people? So this requires planning and figuring out like how many people do you need to be reaching out to and meeting and calling on and prospecting to in order to convert the number you need to convert to get to your goal in 2022. Then what systems and strategies will you work to meet that number of people? So we're going to go into systems and strategies more in a moment, but in order for you to get in front of that number of people on a weekly or monthly basis, what systems are you going to use? Like building your database, your weekly prospecting, newsletter marketing, social media consistency, mailing and marketing, neighborhood campaign. The whole idea is have a plan. Write out what the plan is. Every day, look at the plan and say, what am I going to do to execute on this plan today? Write down your plan and stick to it, and you will have a more successful 2022 than you would without your plan. Next up, success increases as your systems do. Your success will depend heavily on your ability to create systems and processes that will work for you. Systematizing your business will require that you systematize your day and time, like your daily calendar, that you systematize your appointments. In other words, when you show up and you're in front of somebody, you have a system of what happens, that you systematize your presentations, your transaction processes, and your marketing. So as you are executing on that plan you have, that written plan that you're going to create, now it's time to look at that plan and say, what systems do I have to implement in order to increase my likelihood of success for 2022? So number one, what can you do to systematize your day? You have to create your win the day success formula. People always ask me, there's certain things that I have to do on my daily basis that, to me, I win the day if I do these certain things. So for me, I have to run 5 miles a day. I have to make a certain number of prospecting calls. And for me, prospecting is recruiting. So I have to make a certain number of prospecting calls. I have to run 5 miles, and I have to read for 1 hour, read a book. The way that I fit all that into a schedule is that I've systematized my day, that there are very, very few days that I don't accomplish those 3 things. And when I accomplish those 3 things, in my mind, I have won the day. So you're not going to win every day, but if you can win most days in a week, then you're going to win the week. And if you win each week, then you're going to win the month. And if you win the month after month, you're going to win the year. So you need to have a systematized process to how you look at each day on your calendar. You have to systematize your appointments. You want to increase how you do business, you want more business, then your listing presentation needs to have a process. Your appointment setting has to have a process. So I want you to think about your appointment setting process and then your appointment sitting process. What does it look like when you sit with the customer? In other words, first of all, as far as appointment setting, there are great applications out there. I use Calendar Hero, where you can just send a link to somebody and say, hey, book an appointment on my calendar. So use a system like Calendar Hero. So you're not going back and forth figuring out when your schedules align. Let a application that costs $10 a month figure it out for you. So systematize your appointment setting process. And then once you've done that, you have to systematize your appointment sitting process. So your listing presentation, your buyer presentation, all of that is should be set up as a system. Like when you show up, this is how my system is going to happen. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to ask for a tour of the property. I'm going to ask them what they love about the property. So you're going to have your checklist of what you do. And then you're going to go through your presentation and then your comps. So create your systematized process for your presentations. And thank you, by the way, I see Sergio keeps adding all the links we've been talking about for the program in the chat box. So everything we've talked to, from ordering your Thanksgiving pies to Calendar Hero to the training programs, pay attention to the chat box, and Sergio keeps adding those for us. Next, transaction processes. You have to systematize your transaction process. Once a deal goes under agreement, by the way, this is where lots of agents fail in their business, is that once they put a deal under agreement, they're so focused on getting that transaction closed that they stop doing all the other stuff. All the other systems stop, so that at the end of the transactions, once they've cashed their paycheck and they're on to the next deal, there's no deal there for them because they didn't have a process for everything else. So create a system for the process so that once you put a transaction under agreement, that you're not taken away, not working on all the other important pieces to your business. And then next, systematize your marketing. Super important. You want to make sure that you're always staying in front of people. There's great mailing softwares that do this for you. One of my favorites is MLS Mailings. MLS Mailings is a company that hooks into your MLS so that every time you just list or just sell a property, MLS Mailings will automatically send out your postcards on your behalf. And then using the tools we have, like Isact, every customer you have, every person you know, friend, family member, neighbor, every person that comes to an open house, every person you meet should go into your CRM, into your database, and a monthly email should be going out to them. We provide that service through Isact, but it could be any CRM product. But super important that your success for 2022 will depend heavily on your ability to systematize all these processes. By systematizing these processes, your business is always moving forward. You have stuff happening even when you're not the one actually doing it. All right, next. Grow your listing business. Okay, this is important. You want to have 2022 be your best year ever. You want your business to get better and better every single year. You need to move every year a step closer to being a listing agent. When you look at the top 5 agent list at the beginning of our program each month, what I can tell you is those are listing agents, usually. So in order to grow your business, you have to be focused on becoming a stronger listing agent. Nothing wrong with buyers. Of course, we love buyers, but buyers take much more work than a listing. So for example, if you think about what we started today's program with, that time is money, then on a weekly basis, it's pretty difficult to work more than 2 or 3 buyers in a given week if they're out actively looking at real estate. Whereas it's totally possible to work with 7 to 10 sellers in a week. They're just less time consuming than working with a buyer. You can get more listings. They take less out of your daily schedule than a buyer because you're not going out looking at lots of properties, writing offers that are not getting accepted. You have a set amount of time that you can spend with each seller and the property goes under agreement and gets sold. So as you are looking to unlock your greatest potential for 2022, ask yourself, what are the things you can do to grow your listing business? Next, you want to have your best year ever, then get really good at under promising and over delivering. This is really important, and it's a great time of year to do this. Look at what you're promising people. So where do you promise people stuff? Typically where you make your promises are in your listing presentations, your buyer presentations, and sometimes your contracts, like your buyer contract or your listing contract. Go through those in detail and make a list of what you are promising to people. These are the things that I promise to people. And then make a list of how you're going to over deliver on those promises. The reason this is so key to unlocking your potential for 2022 is raving fans. Raving fans are the ones that are constantly growing your business. So it's not good enough just to close customers and move on to the next transaction. Your goal in every transaction is to create a raving fan, somebody that thinks you are their hero for helping them achieve a dream. If you want to create raving fans, this is like your mouthpiece out to the world. You want to create these unpaid sales armies that go out and find more business for you. Then you need to have a process for under promising and then over delivering, so that at every step of the transaction, as they buy and sell, they are wowed. And when they are wowed, they tell their friends, their neighbors, their own customers and their own businesses, their employees, that you are the real estate agent to work with. Next, if you want to have the most successful 2022, it's really important to hold every dollar accountable. It is not what you make, it's what you keep. Super important in real estate, and I've seen many agents make this mistake. I have seen many agents go out and spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars buying like lead services so that they can do more business. And sometimes what those agents realize is that before they purchased that lead program, they made more money and did less deals before they went out and purchased the lead program. So just hold every dollar accountable. That means that if you're going to spend something in your business, then make sure it's working in your favor. We get busy as real estate agents. We go out and try new things. We sign up for stuff, and then we forget about it. Sometimes those things we sign up for work, sometimes they don't. But your success is going to come down to your ability to read your credit card statements on a monthly basis and look at what are the subscriptions that you signed up for. What are you paying for that's not delivering for you? So did you sign up for a subscription on a CRM system that you're not using, or a marketing system that you're not using, or a lead program that's costing you too much money? Always know the return on your investment. You are the CEO of your own real estate business. So you need to constantly be evaluating where your money is being spent and ask yourself, could the money be invested somewhere better for your business, something that could create a better return? Look at each product that you're paying for and ask, are there alternative products or services that cost less or are less risky? So for example, in our LAER program and services guide, we have a section that just talks about leads. And on the left-hand side of that page, it's all the subscription-based lead programs. And on the right-hand side of that is the subscription-based lead platforms. Maybe if you're paying a lot of money for leads, maybe instead of paying a monthly subscription, move over to a subscription, a referral-based lead platform where you're only paying something if it converts. In other words, if you're not closing the deals, then you're not paying anything. And then really think about if you're buying leads, if you're out buying a subscription-based lead platform, how much is it really costing you? Is it possible that, yeah, so the example I like to give is we had an agent that was doing about $7 million a year in business without paying for leads. $7 million a year is a great business. But that person wanted to be like number one at the very top. They wanted to be number one in their marketplace. So went out and started buying up subscription programs in order to get more leads. And at the end of the year, the next year, they doubled their business. So they did more business, they doubled their business, but made less money. Their net was less than the 7 million that they were making before. So is it worth it? Like, do you want it? What is the goal of the money that you're spending? Just make sure that it's actually resulting in higher income, because it's not worth it to go out and work more, not to increase the money you're making in your pocket. By the way, as you're thinking about all the things that you're paying for, this is just a quick little commercial embedded within the this little program about look at the stuff that you have access to that you get for free. So as you're planning out the new year, what are the tools that you have access to that you don't have to pay anything for? Sometimes we lose sight of those as real estate agents. We don't pay attention unless we're paying for it. But there are so many great tools that you have access to that's not costing you anything. And look at how do you make sure that those tools are helping you convert more business. The best place to find out what tools you have access to at LAER is to go to laerrealty.com/success tools. There you'll see our program and services guide where we spell out all the tools that you have access to. But as you're planning for the new year and you're making sure you account for every dollar that you're spending and making sure that every dollar you spend is creating a return for your business, do not forget to take a look and make sure you're utilizing the tools that you have at your disposal for free. And next, the bigger your platform, the bigger your business. So as you get ready for the new year, as you gear up for an amazing 2022, what I want to remind you is that your database is your gold. Your database is your audience. So the bigger your audience, the more people that you are talking to, the more money that you're going to make in this business. And by the way, those customers are cheaper. So instead of going out and buying leads, start building your own lead database. So your database is your audience of people that you're talking to on a monthly or a weekly basis. So think about, as you move into 2022, what steps are you taking to grow your audience? And how are you making sure that you're talking to them regularly? So as you think about your database, I want you to think about growing it, like watering it daily, like growing that database, adding to the people that, adding to the list so that the list gets bigger and bigger every single week, and then watering it daily. Meaning, if you're going to put everybody into your database, like an Isaac CRM system, make sure you're using it and sending them something. So make sure that you take the one extra step of checking a button within the system to make sure the person's getting a newsletter from you monthly, so that you're staying in touch with all these people that you have in your database. But it's so important, we're building out some great programs around Isaac because this is your gold. So we're building a beginner, intermediate, and advanced program on your Isaac CRM because it is your gold. It makes your business saleable down the road, your database. It's the people you talk to every single week and every single month. The leads are less expensive the bigger your database gets because you're staying in touch with people who already know, like, and trust you. The people that already decided they want to hire you. You don't have to prove anything to. They like you. They want to hire you. And then my last piece of advice for unlocking your best year ever is to master your mindset. The stories of your mind become the stories of your life. And it's really important that you control the stories that you are having in your own head. I've shared numerous classes on this. I've written, every Monday I write a Mindful Monday blog, and a lot of it is around this very subject. What you think about, you bring about. So if you think negatively, if you are hard on yourself regularly, it will all come to fruition. I think it was Einstein who said that your thoughts are like a preview of your future, because whatever you think about, you will create in your business. As an example, I was talking to an agent yesterday, phenomenal real estate agent who's going to have her best year ever this year, $10 million in sales. And the market slowed a little bit. As I mentioned at the beginning of today's program, the market slows this time of year in New England. And she reached out to me and she's like, do you think I should go get a job? And I said, if you think that you should get a job because the market slowed, be super careful about what is going on in your head. Because if you think you should get a job, then the universe is going to create a dynamic where you're going to need to go get a job. So really important that you control the mindset and have an awareness over the conversations that you are having with yourself every single day. The one person you talk to all day, every day is yourself. And if you are not in control of those conversations, you could create a 2022 that you're not that excited about. So How do you make sure that you master your mindset for 2022? Read books about mindset. Two of my favorite books that focus just on mindset are What You Say When You Talk to Yourself by Shad Helmstetter and Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. Those are two unbelievable books that will show you the power of our thoughts and our words and how we create our lives just by our thoughts. Where you are right now in your business, in your life, is a byproduct of the thoughts you've had up until this moment. If you are not pleased with where you sit right now in your business or your life, the first thing to do is to start with those thoughts and the conversations you're having with yourself. It's so important to recognize when you're hurting yourself with your own thoughts, beliefs, and words. And then start getting good at centering yourself. Do things that put yourself in a positive mindset every day. So maybe for me, it's reading and exercise. That's why I said for me to win the day, I have to read for 1 hour. So I have it time blocked. 1 hour every single day I read. And I can't remember the last time I did not read for 1 hour in a day. I have to do my 5 miles. So those two things put me in an appropriate mindset that no matter what is going on in the world around me, my reading and my exercise get me back to a center so that I have an awareness around what is going on between my ears. Same with spiritual practice, and maybe it's going to church, or maybe for you it's a yoga practice, but find out what it is that you need to do to center yourself, to control and master your mindset. The reason I put this one last, mastering your mindset, is that we went through 10 steps to unlocking 2022 as your best year ever. If you do steps 1 through 9 really well, but you mess up on number 10, which is mastering your mindset, then you wasted your time on the other 9 sets. This is the most important. You've got to do this piece first, or none of the other steps matter. If your mindset is not good, or it's negative, or it's self-deprecating, you're not going to achieve your goal, even if you do all the other stuff correct. So the top of the list of things to do for 2022 is to master that mindset moving forward. So those are all the steps to how to unlock your best year ever for 2022.